The enigmatic yet hypnotic Tenet is another fantastically constructed, high-concept action movie from the mind of the modern-day cinematic auteur Christopher Nolan. The film combines elements of time travel and science fiction with James Bond-esque espionage sequences to give the audience non-stop thrills from the very beginning to the very end. There's a lot of mystery surrounding Tenet, but luckily we know some interesting facts about the making of Christopher Nolan's latest movie. Hey there, cinephiles! Here to look for the next best movies to watch or to know amazing things about your favorite movies? Well, then you are in the right place. Welcome to Popzee, where you can find all the cinematic details you need. Today, we have our picks for the Tenet, the explanation story behind the scenes, most shocking. But before that, make sure to drop a like, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe and turn on post notifications. Make sure to stay till the end to know our take on your favorite movies. The film itself has garnered a reputation for being confusing, requiring further research and potential rewatches in order to fully understand the concepts that Nolan is asking the audience to grapple with. While the audience may also have difficulty following aspects of the film, the behind-the-scenes facts also show a difficulty on the part of the actors. Christopher Nolan's 11th feature film, Tenet, became the first major Hollywood film to release in theaters amidst the coronavirus pandemic. Nolan's persistence for a theatrical release makes more sense upon an initial viewing of the spectacle that is Tenet. The film is a labyrinth woven of threads reminiscent of past works. The intense battle scenes of Dunkirk, sci-fi action sequences of Inception, and fragmented time of Memento are all echoed in Tenet.
Fire, ice will form on your clothes. Transfer of heat is reversed. Gravity will feel normal, but if you're reversed for the world around you.
Christopher Nolan thought about Tenet for nearly 20 years. While Nolan only started working on the script for this movie around 6 years ago, the ideas at the core of Tenet had been present in Nolan's mind for over 20 years, with the British director grappling with the concepts for some time. Anyone who has watched the film would understand that these ideas must have been worked on for some time. While the film clearly relying upon a delicate balance of science fiction and scientific fact, the amount of research needed for Tenet to make sense would have taken years at least to complete, let alone fully comprehend and condense into a blockbuster movie. Robert Pattinson was inspired by Christopher Hitchens. Robert Pattinson's character in Tenet, Neil, was one of the highlights of the film. Pattinson's performance was very James Bond-esque, with Neil coming off as a suave and sophisticated secret agent. However, what is interesting is that Pattinson didn't use James Bond as a direct inspiration for his character. Instead, Pattinson saw the late British journalist and writer Christopher Hitchens as the main inspiration behind his character.
We don't have to kill these people.
The cast really had to act backwards. In simple terms, Tenet deals with the concept of inversion, meaning that certain events play out backwards. This is seen in the final cut, when some sequences had actors either speak in reverse or moving in reverse, while others were moving correctly. In some situations, the actor actually had to learn the reverse of the choreography, or even learn how to speak their lines backwards. Kenneth Branagh, in particular, had to learn to speak his lines backwards in a Russian accent. Early reviews that the movie is said to be one of Nolan's most divisive, while the plot and complicated narrative structure have left some critics scratching their heads. What's perhaps most surprising are the reports that despite much of the action taking place in reverse, the majority of Tenet's action sequences were shot practically, without having to resort to CGI or any digital trickery. In fact, Nolan reportedly shot the key action scenes twice, once forward and again backward. That is partially the reason why Nolan has repeatedly insisted that the movie be seen in theaters, given the drama and spectacle of the action scenes.
I'm calling the cavalry.
What cavalry?
The level of production secrecy was intense. The secrecy surrounding Tenet was about the only thing the public knew about the new Nolan movie. It took some time before a trailer was even released for the project, with many not even knowing what the film would actually be about. Arguably, the movie's plot only made a lick of sense when the final trailer was released. However, the secrecy also impacted the cast. For example, Sir Michael Caine was only allowed to read his section of the script, while Tenet stars Robert Pattinson and John David Washington both got to read the full script, but in locked rooms at Warner Brothers Studio. Tenet was made with 100% practical stunts and effects. As technology and CGI has improved over the past couples of decades, the need for practical effects has also diminished, with movie studios opting for CGI due to its cheaper, quicker methods in producing the desired effects. However, for Tenet, Nolan opted to have his movie be entirely reliant upon real effects, refusing to use any green screens in the production of the movie. This is unsurprising, given Nolan's adamant preference for practical effects and only using digital work when absolutely necessary.
But one man's probability of death is another man's possibility for a life.
A real plane was crashed. One of the most memorable elements of the movie comes from Neil's plan to crash a plane into the Freeport. The scene itself looked incredible, as if an actual plane had crashed into a building for the purpose of the movie. The reason why it looks so real is that it actually was. Nolan was originally going to use miniatures to capture the scene, but realized it would be cheaper to just buy a disused plane and crash it into a real building. This isn't the first time Nolan demolished a plane for a movie, as seen in The Dark Knight Rises' unforgettable opening, where band staged a mid-air escape. The original title was Merry-Go-Round. The palindromic title of Tenet helps to perfectly tie into the concept of the movie, with inversion being the key concept that audiences must get their head around in order to fully understand the plot and actions of the movie. However, the film didn't always bear the title of Tenet. The working title of the film, Merry-Go-Round, also reflected the movie's plot fairly descriptively, but it lacked the simple impact of Tenet.
We have to put it back on out.
Tenet is one of the most expensive original films in history. It goes without saying that Nolan is one of the most celebrated directors working in Hollywood today. As a result, whatever the director wants, the director gets. So, despite it being an original movie, which are generally cheaper than blockbuster franchise tentpoles, the studio gave Nolan a massive budget of $205 million to work with. This is a huge budget for an original movie, making it one of the most expensive original movies of all time. While movies like Endgame receive a higher budget, they're far more likely to attract a wide audience due to the brand name recognition. The fact that an original movie was given this budget shows how much the studio values Nolan. Tenet is reportedly one of Nolan's most expensive undertakings to date, which is saying something considering his hugely ambitious Batman movies and his 2014 space drama Interstellar weren't exactly cheap. It's a testament of Nolan's critical and commercial pull that he's one of the only filmmakers in Hollywood that a major studio like Warner Brothers is willing to give a giant budget to direct an original film.
Listen to me. I can help you. 4. Go!
Tenet is as scientifically accurate as possible. At its core, Tenet is a science fiction movie that obviously relies on more imagination than science. However, despite this, Nolan still wanted his film to be at least grounded in some kind of scientific realism. To achieve this desired accuracy, or at least plausibility, Nolan asked physicist Kip Thorne to read through the script and offered some help in working through the concepts at hand. Needless to say, getting a real academic genius helped give Tenet its realistic edge.
I've been thinking, we're their ancestors.
If they destroy us, won't that destroy them?
Let's bring us to the grandfather paradox.
For what?
Cat was written specifically for Elizabeth Debicki. The female lead in Tenet, Cat, was remarkably portrayed by Elizabeth Debicki. Some would say that the role was perfect for her, but what is interesting is that audiences aren't the only ones thinking that. As it turns out, the role of Cat was written with Debicki in mind. The French-Australian actress was offered the role of Cat by Nolan, but she insisted on auditioning so that she felt that she had still earned the part. Nolan's decisions came about when his producing partner and wife, Emma Thomas, insisted that he rewrite the part of Cat for Debicki after watching her in Windows. Well, with all the zest peeled, we have come to the end of the video. Do not hesitate to give us your likes and make sure to turn the post notifications on to keep up with us. And please don't forget to follow us on social media, Popzee.tv. See you later, Cinephiles.